Hi everyone, and welcome to week 5 and module 5 of the course. Um, so I just wanted to show you the question for this week. It basically says, how can the model of supply and demand for one product be used to explain an entire economy full of millions of products, businesses, and services that even engages in international trade? And so that gives you a little sign that we are going to be talking about aggregate demand and supply this week. For those of you guys who have taken micro with me or have just taken microeconomics, you probably understand the supply and demand model. This is going to be a little bit different, but that foundation will serve you very well. So let's see what's happening this week as we go into the module 5. So overall, this is a very traditional week in the sense that there's 2 basic assignments and 1 assessment. So one of the homework assignments looks like this. So basically, it has a scenario here, much like a headline. Your job is to draw the graph to tell what happens, and then give an explanation of what happens and why. And then another assignment, again along the same lines. In this case, you have a scenario. You will see if you read the soft chalk why it is that there's this vertical line going through labeled long run aggregate supply. And you make a shift. The before point is always going to be A in the center. The after point is going to change, but you're going to label it B. You're going to explain what is the determinant that shifts the curve, and then what gap is created. It's either going to be an inflationary gap or a recessionary gap. And again, you're going to learn that in the soft chalk. So for this week, more than any other, so far, it's going to be very contingent on you to take your time, go through this module 5 content, this soft chalk right here. You can see that there's 9 pages. It's very similar to the other ones, some videos, some me lecturing, some other things. But really pay attention and take notes. Draw some sample graphs. You can see that already, you've got the aggregate demand curve that looks very much like a demand curve. You've got an aggregate supply curve that looks very much like a supply curve, but then you have this other thing called the long run aggregate supply. And you're going to have to sort of read and understand why it is that is the case. Let's see what is in this folder right here before we say goodbye for the day. So there are a few other assignments which I had forgot about. These again are pretty simple. Especially once you read the soft chalk. I think you will understand it on a pretty basic level. But going back to this, you can see that we build this the same way that we build with learning just regular supply and demand. We've got a little aggregate supply worksheet just on aggregate supply, an aggregate demand worksheet, and then back out together, you sort of put them together. So to wrap it all up, make sure that you're reading the content first, taking notes. I would do these 2 worksheets first, then I would do these 2 worksheets, and then you have a short little assessment at the end. And that's it. So a pretty basic week. Please ask me any questions. This is when the course really starts building on itself. Okay, so we begin building on things that you already know. All right, good luck.